name is Dave Watkins. I've been building bandsaw boxes now for quite a number of years, and I get questions all the time about how do you do it. People want to know how to make a box. So that's really the reason for this video. The first thing we have to do, of course, is we've got to build a block of wood from which we can make this box. So I've taken a piece of Afrormosia, flattened it out, smoothed it up, and then cut it in half so that my end grain shows I've got a matching end grain here. And I did the same thing with a piece of oak, flattened it, and I'll put them together. Now I generally always use two different species of wood, two different colors if possible. I just like the design better. Well, anyway, after you put this, glue this all together, and by the way, make sure that when you do glue it, that you glue it completely. There's no voids in there at all, because invariably they'll show up in the side of your box or in the side of your drawer. So make sure you're completely covered. But then you take a pencil, once this is all set up and dried, and draw on the face basically the shape that you want your box to be. So if we want it to be something like that, I just draw a rough drive on there, and you take it to the bandsaw and cut it out, and that's going to be the shape of your box. And then from that you can build it in your bandsaw box. I'm not going to use those today because I have literally hundreds of blocks like this that are already made up. They're from inside of the drawer of larger boxes, or from cutting out other boxes, but I have in all shapes and sizes. For example, I have one here that looks like figured maple and ash. All I'd have to do is sand the face and the back and all the way around. I cut the saw marks off, and that box would be ready to go for a box. In this case, this is canary wood, but I just have to cut this little bump out here and make that smooth, then change the face a little bit, and that one, after sanding, would be ready to make a box out of. I even have little small ones that I use all the time. Just take and cut that, round off the front here, then taper down the back and around the corner, and you've got a little box made out of zebra wood. They're really quite pretty. So anyway, by the way, these are available if you don't want to build your own blocks and take the time to do it. I sell these two for $1 plus whatever it costs to ship them to you. But this block is the block that I've decided to use. And what I need to do is sand it smooth all the way around, front and back. And I've already done that with the belt sander. Oh, it's ready to go. Well, the next step after smoothing it up is to draw the outline of the drawer. So I take a pencil, come in about 1/4 of an inch or maybe a little less, depending on the shape and size of the box that I'm working with. Okay, and that will be the shape of the drawer inside my box. Then I put a little mark on the face that tells me when I go to cut it, this is the top and this is the front of the drawer when I'm putting it back together. The next step then would be to take it to the bandsaw and cut that out. And we'll go do that now. Right, now the first thing we've got to do is to cut the back off of this block of wood. So I'm going to bring the fence in and line it up with this line between the two species of wood here. And we'll cut the back. Now the next step is on the other side, we want to cut out the drawer. So we come in here, there, we've cut the back off, we've cut out our drawer. Now the next thing we're going to do is we've got to take the front and the back off of this block, off of our drawer block. So again, we'll bring the fence in, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less, and cut the back of the front off. Take the front, Turn it around and we'll take the back. Okay, I will take the front and the back. Usually I build several at a time, so I'll set these down inside like that to keep track of them so I know where they are. Then I put the block in with it lined up the way that it's going to be. I'll mark where I'm going to cut my drawer. Okay. I'll set that aside. Now we'll cut out the inside of the drawer. Basically, that completes the cutout. Now the next step is to put it back together. This little piece that I've got left, sometimes I'll make another drawer if it's big enough, but in this case I'll probably just use it to make the drawer pull for this one. So now we'll go put it together. Now that we've got the box all cut out, now we've got to put it back together. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is put the box itself together. But before I do that, I want to round the edges of the saw curve where I cut in to take the drawer out, because eventually I'm going to round this entire edge and I want this to match. So what I do before I put the back on, by pressing in opposite directions, I can actually separate that and round it over. I'm going to come around, separate that one, and do the same thing there. Okay? That way when I round this over, this center, it will all match. So now we're going to put the back on. So what I'm going to do is make sure that when I cut this out, I didn't leave any little burrs along this back edge that might hold the box from coming really close together. We'll take and spread some glue all the way around, make sure that it's totally covered, then put the back on. Now I'm not going to put the glue on right now just because of time, but then I'll take a couple of pieces of scrap particle board, put them on each side of the box, and clamp the box kind of about in the center here. Make sure that I'm smooth all the way around, that I got a good joint everywhere. Tighten it up and set it aside and let it dry. I'm going to do the same thing with the drawer. Again, I want to make sure that I don't leave any burrs where I cut it. Make sure that it's all smooth. That the back of the drawers are smooth. Now, I deliberately chose a piece of oak because I wanted to show you something. I really like to work with oak, but oak is very open grain, very porous, especially on the end grains. So later on, I'm going to flock the inside of this drawer. I'm going to paint it, and if I don't seal the inside of that end grain, the paint will actually come through those open grains and show up on the outside of my box. Of course, I don't want that. So I'll take some glue, put just a little bit on the inside, spread it around, make sure I do it on both ends so that later on when I go to paint it, I'm not going to have any paint problems. Now, where this end grain is on the end of the box, I can do it now. If it were in the bottom, I would want to put the box together and then spread the glue. Otherwise, it will expand and actually change the shape of the drawer, and you'll have trouble putting it back together. So now that I've got it ready, again I'll take the glue, spread the glue, make sure that it's all covered. Do the same thing on the other side, make sure it's covered. and then put the box together. Again, the best way to hold that good and secure, I've found, is to use a little scrap piece of particle board or whatever. Take a clamp, come in about the center, clamp it down, make sure that it is good all the way around, tighten it, set it aside to dry, and that basically completes the reassembly of the box. Okay, now the glue has dried on our box, and I've taken it out of the clamps. Now it's ready to basically finish. First thing I have to do is I've got to clean up this seam here where I put the back on. So we'll do that with the belt sander. Good finish, so it didn't take much, but that's cleaned that up. It's nice and smooth all the way around. Now we need to take the drawer, do the same thing with the drawer. We'll take the end of the belt sander. Both of these seams all the way around are cleaned off. We cleaned off the back. So in essence, we've got a nice good finish now, except for hand sanding, that part's done. While this was drying, I took the chunk of wood that came out of the inside of the drawer, and I cut a piece of it off. And then I drew on the face of it the pattern similar in shape to my box, so that I can use this down for the pull on the drawer. And then I took the bandsaw and cut it out and ended up with a little piece like this. And then I took the belt sander and beveled it. Now I can get a hold of it easy when I go to pull the drawer out. So in essence, that completes the construction of the drawer. Now we're going to round over these edges and finish the outside edge. And we'll go take care of that now. Okay, I've gone now and rounded over the edges of the box. I route over the front of the drawer, and then on the box I do the back and inside and outside of the opening. Now I do it with a router bit. I've got a little 1/8 or 5/32 inch roller bearing here, round over, and I just put it in the router table, and then I can run it like this and do it all the way around the edges. Now, of course, that can be done by hand or any number of ways, but I use a router bit because it's faster, and I build these, many at a time, maybe 30, 40, 50 at a time, so the router bit's faster. The other thing now that we've got to do is our final sanding. So I take this regular hand sander, sand the edge. Sand the entire box, sand all these round over edges, do the same thing with the drawer, break this corner back here so there's no sharp edges, take the pull, sand it, again break the top edge so that there's no sharp edges, and then basically now, after it's been completely sanded and smooth, it's ready to be stained. So we're going to go do that now. Okay, last night I stained this box with natural stain. I don't want to change the color necessarily, so I use natural because I want to just bring out or enhance the natural color of the wood. Oh, then I let it sit overnight. Now this morning I sanded it off with a 220 grit paper, and then we're going to put the drawer pull on. Now I sand it before the pull, obviously, because it's easier to sand without that drawer pull than it is with the drawer pull. So I hold the pull until after I've sanded it and put the pull on. Now you can glue it and clamp it, but depending on the shape of your pull, that's sometimes kind of awkward and time-consuming to boot. So what I do is I use a CA glue, and you just put a bead of glue on the bottom of the pull. Position it where you want it on the drawer. Looks good there. Take the accelerator and spray accelerator on it. That kind of helps it to set up a little bit faster, but you still have to hold it for a few seconds. Now if you got excessive accelerator like I have, you can do a couple of things. You know, one, you can just wipe it off, or you can blow on it and evaporate it. It only takes a moment for it to dry, and take the drawer out. Now you've got a little bit of excessive glue that's kind of spilled out. So if I take a razor knife and cut just under the glue, and then lift it up, I can peel that whole piece of glue out of there. It comes out in one chunk like that. Okay? And just make sure I don't have anything excessive. The top, there's just a little bit come out there. Cut underneath it with the knife. And then you can peel it out with the knife. So it's not hard to clean up. It generally goes pretty fast. I've got a little excessive amount on there today, but that comes out pretty quick. And that basically completes the box. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stain it one more time. This time I'm going to wipe it down, however. I'm not going to just stain it and let it sit overnight. I want to kind of dry it and polish it. It gives me a little bit better finish. And after it sits overnight, then we'll flock the inside of the drawer, and that will finish the box up. So we'll do that in the morning. Now the other day, we took the box and put a second coat of stain on it and wiped it down good, and then set it aside and let it dry overnight. Now since then I have taken this box and finished the outside of it. There's a lot of ways to finish it, and you all have probably your favorite way of doing it, but I use a wax finish. So I finished the box and the drawer, and now what we're going to do is finish the inside of the drawer now that we've got the outside done. Now in order to finish the inside, what I do is I use a spray-on flocking. I buy it from a company called Donjer, DONJER.com, so you can contact them on the web. It's also available in many just craft stores. It just does spray-on flocking. What you do is you take the paint the inside of the drawer, and then while it's wet, spray the fibers flocking into it, and it makes a nice finish. Now before we actually do that, I'm going to take this little drawer here and show you. I paint the inside of the drawer with an acrylic craft type paint. The reason I do that is because of the contrasting color between the two woods that I use. If I paint the inside, I get rid of some of that difference in color, so that I've got more uniform finish on the inside. The other thing I do, you'll remember when we were putting this drawer together, that I spread glue on the inside of the end grains on the oak, so that the glue, or the paint now, when we paint it, won't seep through and come out on the outside. Of course, that makes a real problem to try to clean up. The other thing I do is I finish the outside of the box before I finish the inside, so that if I'm painting here and I happen to get some paint on this outside edge, if it's been finished, I can just wipe it off. If it's still raw wood, it'll seep into that wood, and it's much more difficult to clean up. So I always paint the outside, finish the outside before I do the inside. Now, we just take a brush and our paint and basically paint all the inside of the box. You want to get it covered completely and do it as fast as you can so that the paint stays as wet as possible. Then we'll take, now this has already been done, so we'll put it inside of my box. And I just took a big box and lined it with wax paper so that I can catch the excess flocking. And we'll spray it inside the drawer. We want to make sure that we cover all the sides and the bottom, and it's completely covered, because in fact the instructions say cover it well and then spray it some more. But don't hesitate to put plenty of flocking in it. You're going to catch all the excess anyway. We're not going to waste it. That can be reused. So make sure that you cover it good. And let it set aside maybe overnight. I generally set it overnight. Now the next morning, you can take and knock that excess flocking out. Now this one actually I did yesterday, so we'll just tap it upside down and get rid of the excess. Then we'll take a little brush and kind of go over the inside, knock anything that might be loose but didn't come out, get rid of it, and you've got a nice smooth finish on the inside of your drawer. It makes a really nice finish. It's beautiful. And essentially, we've completed it now. There is one more thing that I do. I get these little felt buttons from the hardware store, or they're like you put on the cabinet door to keep the door from banging. Just take those. I put them on the bottom of the box so that when I set it down on a nice finish, I don't mar or scratch that finish. The other thing I do is I take one of those buttons and put it down in the bottom so that when I put the drawer in, now remember we cut the front and the back off the drawer, so the drawer is narrower now than it was. We put it in, it'll make it so that the drawer and the front of the box line up. They're flush. Now the other thing I do is I'll put them on the bottom of the drawer. And I do that so that it slides a little smoother, a little quieter, and also it makes an even space around the drawer. Now without those I'd have a gap at the top and nothing at the bottom. So it just makes it a little nicer looking is all. So essentially that completes our box. Now if I haven't made myself clear on something and you have questions, why feel free to contact me through the website and I'll try to answer your questions for you. After you've done a few of these and you kind of feel like you've got a little more confidence in your ability to build a box and want to try something with a little more challenge to it, I have a video of how to build my yin yang box. Now this one I'll give you complete instructions on how to build it, plus I'll show you how to build the hidden drawer in the box. So that's for down the road after you've kind of gained a little more experience perhaps. In the meantime, have fun with your boxes and thanks a lot for watching.